Okay, welcome to the Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025, regular closed session meeting of the East Bay Mud Board of Directors. Roll call, please, Madam Secretary.
Director Chan,
Present.
Director Gomez,
Here.
Director Katz,
Here.
Director Lewis,
Here.
Director Odie,
I'm here.
Director Smith,
Present.
President Young.
I'm here. I know we have one blue card. Are there any members of the public online for public comment?
None.
Okay. Then I'm going to call Gary Walters to the stand. Please state your name and affiliation and the topic that you are referring to. Please don't provide information such as your address or your phone number. If that's needed, one of our staff will contact you. And you have 3 minutes, and your time will appear.
Good morning, President Young, General Manager Chan, and all those in attendance. My name is Gary Walters II, and I am speaking to you as a concerned employee. I had asked to attend these meetings to talk about positive things, but this last week has been a culmination of the last month, year, and really 4 years that I have been targeted, intimidated, bullied, and retaliated against. I am here to ask this body to look into the handling of complaints by HR staff, management, and supervision, and their implementation of the policies and procedures that are set and approved by this board. When I was hired in the late 90s, I viewed HR as an independent body. I thought it was a sort of checks and balances, but there has been a significant shift in the last 10 to 15 years that really got bad about 5 years ago. Thankfully, the previous board allowed a couple of SMT members to retire and moved employee development, DIO, and the values out of HR. Now I see the role of HR as more of a cleanup crew that enables supervision to dance around the line of legality to manipulate the system to accomplish their agenda. When valid complaints are filed, HR denies them, deflects the focus, or just covers up the behavior. The employees see this, and it is a significant issue impacting the culture at East Bay Mud and its ability to retain the talented individuals that are sought. It's almost like staff doesn't want to document this type of behavior to give the impression that it doesn't exist here at East Bay Mud. Well, it does, and lives are impacted by it. I have been a union rep for over 25 years and someone that employees regularly confide in with confidential information that they are too afraid to report. I'm not a fan of disclosing private matters in this public forum, but I will provide a recent personal experience. A month ago, I took my virtual mandatory annual workplace violence training. 2 weeks later, I witnessed a comment covered in the training as a requirement for me to report. I've also been experiencing behavior from my coworkers for over 2 years, identified in the training as rising to the level of workplace violence. I found the courage to report the comment to a supervisor and express my concern about the retaliation I have been receiving, especially from a new hire for reporting their inappropriate behavior while on probation. The supervisor failed to protect my anonymity, and people were talking about me in less than 24 hours. A week later, an employee in that work group sent a defaming email about me to the entire work group that they later attempted to recall, but the email had already been opened and forwarded to me. I found the courage to report this incident through the appropriate workplace violence procedure, and the initial determination was that no investigation is required. Please impress upon staff that it is not only their job to protect the district, but it is equally their role to create an environment that protects the district's most valuable assets, the employees. Thank you for your consideration of this request.
Thank you, Mr. Walters. Clifford, it would be helpful, I think, to see without, disclosing private, anything that needs to be private, just something that details the number of complaints in general filed, how many are validated, upheld, or dismissed. I'm not sure what the categories are in the past year. And then also Cindy to follow up with Gary Clifford, if that makes sense, to have Cindy follow up with Gary about this specific matter.
Yeah, I think it does, and we can provide that data to you as well, the whole board.
All right, thank you. Okay, without further ado, any other comments? Not seen here. We will now convene to conference room 8 to discuss closed session agenda item 1, and we're scheduled to return here at 1:15 p.m. Thank you. Welcome to the Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025 regular business meeting of the East EBMUD Board of Directors. Roll call, Madam Secretary.
Director Chan?
Here.
Director Gomez?
Here.
Director Katz?
Here.
Director Lewis?
Here.
Director Odie?
I'm here.
Director Smith?
Present.
President Young?
I am here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we now have a presentation for National Disability Employment Awareness Month. Clifford, do you want to, or Director Lewis?
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. The Disability Advocacy and Rights Team, also known as DART, was founded in 2022 as a district affinity group. The group provides a community for employees with disabilities, caretakers of disabled people, and employees who want to learn more about disability. DART also supports the district's efforts to promote the hiring of qualified individuals with disabilities. Each October, the United States Department of Labor recognizes National Disability Employment Awareness Month, also known as NDEAM. NDEAM commemorates the many contributions of people with disabilities to America's workplaces and economy. The theme for NDEAM 2025 is Celebrating Value and Talent. Reflecting this year's theme, DART will be hosting a variety of activities throughout October in multiple district locations to engage and educate our employees on disability employment issues and the district's commitment to an accessible and equitable work culture. Planned activities include a kickoff celebration with educational sessions and trainings on disability awareness on October 8 here at the Administration Building. Cornhole, my personal favorite, and darts to promote physical activity for all ability levels on the following dates. October 2 at the main wastewater treatment plant, October 9 at the Administration Building, October 23 at Adeline Maintenance Center. A co-hosted potluck with Fuerza Latina, highlighting intersectionality between disability and other identities on October 15 at the Administration Building. A visit from Canine Companions, featuring therapy and service dogs where employees can learn more about service animals and schedule time with a therapy dog on October 22 at the main wastewater treatment plant. And a Halloween party with a costume contest to close out the month on October 30th at the Administration Building. On behalf of the Board of Directors, we thank DART for their contributions and leadership in supporting individuals with disabilities. We encourage all district staff to participate in NDEAM activities and join us in celebrating the value and talent that people with disabilities bring to our community and our workplace.
Thank you. Okay, there are no announcements from closed session. We will now move on to public comment. I've got two cards for in-person comment. Are there any speakers online?
We have one hand online. Get to that. Okay. We have Eric Larson. Let me,
Okay.
Eric, I just want to make sure if it's
Okay.
Eric, you should be able to unmute your mic. Is this an agenda or non-agenda item?
Agenda item number 5, please.
Number 5, okay, we'll get to you when we get there.
Okay. Actually, I have one card for public comment. So just have one online, none online.
He's for number 5.
Okay. Great. Well, then we have Gary Walters, the second. You're wearing a different shirt. Okay.
Has to be here today.
As per this morning, please state your name, affiliation, and topic. Refrain from providing personal information like your address or phone number. The speaker, you are allowed 3 minutes, and we've got a timer up here for you to watch, and the secretary will track the time and tell you when you've run out. Go for it.
Okay, thank you. Hello, President Young, General Manager Chan, Madam Secretary Cole, and all those in attendance. This is what I really came to talk about today. My name is Gary Walters II, and I'm speaking today as a proud Native American employee to bring awareness of the ways we can celebrate the indigenous people of the Americas. My paternal grandparents were both Cherokee Indians that birthed their 7 children on a farm and moved to Alameda in the mid-50s. My maternal grandparents were a military family in the South and now rest in the National Cemetery in San Antonio. As many of us, I have a mixed heritage, and I am a true Native American. I was even born on the biggest indigenous holiday that I know of, Thanksgiving. As part of the last 2 negotiation teams, I advocated to exchange the L2019 Columbus Day holiday for a diversity floating holiday for our staff to use to celebrate their heritage and customs. And this time it was successful. As an aside, my opinion is the district doesn't need to recognize Columbus Day anymore and may consider not changing the name to Indigenous Peoples Day. If you took a poll on a reservation, it would likely support my opinion that Native Americans don't want to be associated with Christopher Columbus. There are other ways that people can support Indigenous American culture. Next Tuesday and every September 30th is Orange Shirt Day. This day is the legacy of St. Joseph Mission Residential School Commemoration Project and was started in 2013 in recognition of Phyllis Webstad. Phyllis was a spokesperson for the reunion group that told her story about the first day at the residential school when she wore a bright new shiny orange shirt that her grandmother had given her. The shirt was taken from her by the administrators of the school. Orange Shirt Day is a day for the survivors to be reaffirmed that they matter, and so do those that have been also affected by those atrocities, let's just say. I'm still learning about the details of this movement and my heritage, but a line I would like that resonated with me, I'd like to share is, every child matters, even if they are adult. Oh man, and from now on. Next Friday, or this Friday, the 26th, is the fourth Friday of every September of every year is California Native American Day. And the entire month of November is National American Indian Heritage Month. I started a dialogue to see if there is a place at EBMUD to recognize and celebrate the indigenous people of the Americas. That takes time. In the meantime, you can support Native Americans by wearing an orange shirt next Tuesday and every 30th of September, or at least try to understand the impacts of colonization on the indigenous people of Americans. Thank you for your time to recognize and share a part of my Native history.
Thank you very much for that. Actually, I learned several things today, so thank you.
I've been learning too. It wasn't talked about a lot when I was growing up, but a couple years ago, one of my aunts passed away, and boy, it opened a windfall of information of my family heritage that I just wasn't aware of. So
Great.
it's become very important to me,
Yeah, thank you.
even more important to me, actually.
Okay, we will now move on to the consent calendar, and if I am not mistaken, we are pulling item 4, item 10, and item 12. Are there any other items that members would like to have pulled for further consideration?
Before we move to the consent calendar, can we have the committee reports? And
Oh,
then we
I'm
have a
sorry.
public comment on number 5. We have public comment from Eric online for,
Oh, I'm sorry, so we pulled number 5, I'm sorry, so it's, okay, we're gonna, on consent, we're gonna pull 4, 5, 10, and 12. But let's have committee reports, which I think is just the Finance Committee, yeah, just the Finance and Administration Committee. Director Lewis?
Good afternoon. The Finance and Administration Committee met. All directors were present. We received reports, including the monthly investment transaction report, the fiscal year 2025 annual budget performance report, adopt a new policy and approve revisions to existing district policies, and fiscal year 2025 annual hydropower revenue report. All reports were accepted.
Okay.
Do you need me to?
No?
Okay.
All right. Now, we will move on to the consent calendar, pulling items 4, 5, 10, and 12 for further discussion before voting on them. Do I have a motion for 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 11?
So moved.
Moved by Director Lewis, seconded by
I'll second it.
Director Gomez. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Okay, those pass. Let's take them in turn. On item 4, I have a card and from Gary Walters. Same deal.
You got it on recording. No. Hello again, it's GW2. I think I can make this one quick. This time, I'm speaking as a ratepayer, a diligent pipeline designer, and a diligent pipeline designer and union member against authorizing this agreement in the amount of $750,000 to contract out my works group. I was the first ever plumber promoted into design in December 2012. And was the most tenured designer, and am the most tenured designer that isn't a senior designer. There's only 2 that have been doing it longer. We have, when I was hired, we had 5 designers, and now we have about 15 in the pipeline design group. I design new extensions and improvements that come out of the new business office. A couple years ago, when this board doc started, there was an influx in new development post-pandemic. New development is driven by the economy. With the uncertainty of the economy and tariffs, investors just aren't starting new projects as they did, like they did 2 years ago. The last budget presentation I saw from the former director of engineering and his PMA showed the 5-year projections for the CI program had in excess of 1-point-something designers. The limiting positions are in the specialty engineering roles, actually. I believe my supervisor was tasked with writing this board doc. So our group has been getting regular updates on the status of this contract. 3 weeks ago, we were told there is barely enough work for our staff to do, and we have nothing for the consultant other than to review the new CAD standards, which is hardly design work. There's backlog work that isn't a priority or deemed essential for designers to allocate their time to, but you are asked to prove the equivalent to the annual salary of about 3 or more FTEs by my class, or a 3-year LT position of my class that could onboard someone in an attempt to hire type position when we are losing several designers to other classifications and other agencies to contract out the work we don't have. This just doesn't make fiduciary sense to me. There is no urgency to approve this agreement, so I request that the board take a pause on this matter and further investigate the merits of this request. Thank you all for your diligence in addressing this agency's and the ratepayers' needs.
Clifford?
Yeah, thank you for your comments, Gary. So this is, well, first, I just want to say, we did meet with Locals 21 in 2019, and they didn't raise any particular issues on this contract. This contract is an as-needed contract, so, and the issue that's come up is as we work with developers, there is a timeline that they'd like us to see, that we say we'd like to meet to turn around design work. And the discussion we have with designers is if we can't meet the timeline with internal resources, then we would contract out the design services to help get the design so that we don't become the bottleneck to move forward with our designs. And again, I'll just kind of reiterate, this is an as-needed contract, and we've met with 21 and 2019 about this contract.
I'm aware. We're the end of the road when it comes to these type of projects. It goes through planning and be all kinds of review, and then when it hits my desk, it's paid for and ready to break ground usually, and oftentimes y'all are hearing the ones I do, because I do the highest level ones typically.
Gary, you did public comment. It was very helpful. It set up the item for our consideration, and if we have other questions for, Gary, really, if we have other questions for you, we will ask them, okay? Thank you.
That's all I have for now, unless there's other questions from the board right now.
Board members?
So basically, just to clarify, the as needed means we would only spend the money if we cannot do the work in-house.
Yes, and correct. And, this came out of meetings with the building industry on some of the issues working with us and the delays that come with getting our designs and getting the pipeline. And so that's the purpose of this contract, because applicant work, as you know, depends on the economy, and it can be very peaky. So we try to do everything in-house, and if we can't meet their timelines, then we will contract that work out. And one of the other things we said is, they had wanted to hire their own consultant at the time, and we weren't comfortable with them hiring a consultant that we hadn't vetted. And so we wanted to make sure we have a consultant that can meet our standards to make sure the designs meet our standards when they get done.
And are they paying for it?
Yeah, well, applicants pay for this.
So
work.
this isn't ratepayer money, this is,
This is
developer
the
money.
developer is paying for this
okay,
work.
that's helpful to know. This does not affect our budget one way or the other, and we only go to it if we need it. And what's your anticipation of whether, over the past year, how many times have we had to go out?
I would say the past year, I think we haven't had to at all. Andrew, you would know better. You want to come up?
We haven't had that request in the past year, but I mean, there's always the interest from the development communities, to accelerate some projects because they're holding large loans. They want to get projects, in the ground and, start selling
Understood.
units.
Yeah.
Right,
and this
right now, there's no building going on.
Yeah, and I mean, this concept came up when the economy wasn't in the position it's currently in.
Okay. Andy?
Among the in-house district forces that we have that perform this type of work, how many are currently vacant positions compared to the amount of positions that we've authorized?
I don't know, Serge, do you have the answer? Oh, I'm seeing one position.
Okay, that sounds generally low, but I do expect that we'll diligently fill that position, and it would be helpful, I think, not singling out this contract, but as we consider other contracts that we've been slowly and carefully considering expanding district forces through the regular budget process. I think it would be helpful as we're doing pre-budget workshops and towards our next cycle to get a report back on our actual utilization of this contract and other contracts that have had board attention.
Jim?
Just two quick questions. One is, I think there was a concern by the speaker that this is not priority. I mean, is this, or not urgent? Is that accurate, or?
I'm maybe not quite understanding what the speaker was referring to, so.
Well, I mean, for example, we had a contract discussion on an item last month, I think, and I think it was supposed to start either the middle of September or the end of September, so we had to do it that day. I mean, if for instance, we pick the option, do not perform the work, I mean, what's gonna happen? I mean, do we have a forecast of, when we're gonna have
Oh, no, I understand.
peak usage, or is it just, we don't know?
We're not in that situation at this time. This is just to have the contract available, so if there's a need, then we would use it, but right now, there's no need.
So do we have like a kind of a historical analysis of, when the peak times were? I mean, is that predictable, or is it just depending on the cycle of the
I
economy?
mean, it's based on the cycle of construction. So when there's a lot of construction and applicant work coming in, and they have work that requires pipeline design, that's when we have difficulty keeping up with those designs. And what has resulted in the past is long timelines for us to get the designs for the developers, and then they have those carrying costs they have to carry over because we don't get the pipe in the ground. And when we met with the development industry, this was something that they had suggested. We said, you know, we can make this work. We will do it in-house if we can meet our timelines, and then we'll contract out if we can.
Okay. And my only other comment would be, I think we gave direction at the last closed session item that was pulled on contracts to bring back more information. So hopefully, this type will be part of that.
And do we have, maybe here's the answer to my question. And Justin, I'll ask you to, Justin Young, come up, and I'll ask you specifically in your comments to address whether or not your local has objects to this contract or not.
Yeah, I just want to, just what really happens, how these projects happen. We get a note, a memo to leadership, contract out committee, and basically forward it to our members. We get them for all contracts coming for the district. So then we have a meeting once a month and we talk about these contracts. We have discussions about the concerns we have. The kind of concerns we have are these type of contracts where it's like, okay, here's 3-year contract with an option of 2. What happens is 5 years go by, we're doing it again. We're doing it again. So these aren't like as needed, it's reoccurring. It's like that for this group with the traffic, I forgot what's called, traffic coordinator, you probably know what it is. And it happens, it comes to us frequently. It's reoccurring contracts.
So, but wait, just so I understand, are you saying that this contract is exercised and paid regardless of whether there's work done or not? You're not saying that, are you?
I'm just saying what's coming to us. These
Okay,
contracts come to us. I don't know what happens for the work.
Okay, so,
that's the
okay,
manager.
did the local formally object to this
We
contract?
did not object to this, no.
Okay,
But we have concerns, and that's why I'm bringing it to you. And that's why it's like, okay, from now on, 2019 is going to object to something. I want to make sure the board sees that. And I want to make sure when we do object in the past, if the board has a way to see that objection, do you guys know that it's been objected? Because last meeting, you asked me, did you object to this? So it sounds like the board is not aware when 2019 objects to certain contracts.
and the answer to that was no. Oh, well, I assume if there was an objection, we would know.
Yeah, we put it in the board document, Justin, as you know, in the board document, if the locals object to it, so for example, item 5, local 444 objects to the contract, we note it in the contract. When the unions don't object to it, we note it in the BD1. So they know, the board knows whether or not the unions have objected or not to it.
The reason for the question last time was that it sounded like the local was objecting. In fact, the local had not objected. So it's sort of like, it's just helping to clear my confusion of hearing that there's an objection to or the objections, concerns, problems, don't do it, but in fact had not said, no, don't do it.
Okay, so as the president of the union and a paying customer of EBMUD, it doesn't make sense how we do business. If we're gonna object to something and we could object to something and we could stop the project, but how is that gonna help EBMUD? EBMUD is gonna just pay it. So we're just saying, do the project, but realize what you're paying. So that's my point.
Right. And in this case, it looks like we are paying for as needed and may not be needed design services when building picks up, which it will at some point in the future, not now, and that we didn't use last year, and that I'm guessing probably aren't going to need to use this year, especially if we have excess capacity in our design team. So we're being, for a contract that is not paid by ratepayers. That's how if I'm understanding it correctly, that's what we're being asked to consider in this item. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just telling you what.
I understand the
Yes,
general
yes,
concern
yeah.
about contracting out. I think we all do.
Yeah, but I'm just saying like the reoccurring, I don't think it was clear that
Right.
these reoccur. This isn't like you're approving this one time. After 5 years, you're gonna see it again.
Yeah, we may well,
Yeah, I'm just making it clear.
right, that we may well see developers willing to pay for design services that we don't need on an ongoing basis.
Traffic control stuff too, and you'll see other stuff.
Well, this is design services, but, yeah, okay,
President Young?
yes.
On the question of just the objection status, I had presumed that, well, generally, I presume that what I read in the packet is accurate and up to date, and I would rely on, our local bargaining units to apprise the board if, and there's been any updates to it. And in this case, I think President Young's question was appropriate because the report out in the sustainability section of the BD1 report was dated back to February 1st, 2024. So it's good that we notified the locals, a year and a half ago, but things can evolve. Things have happened, at the district since then. So double checking is always a good thing, and it sounds like there hadn't been awareness of that formatting in the report. But yeah, I think it's good to hear concerns about program areas and then to identify ways that we can address those through our own planning and budgeting when we're not able to address those concerns directly through the agenda item in front of us. That's my comment.
Any other comments from board members? Do I have a motion?
I'll move.
Second.
Moved by Director Gomez, seconded by Director Lewis. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes. Okay, item 5, we have Eric Larson on the line. Eric, would you prefer to go now or after the item is presented?
Eric,
Yeah, that's fine. Good afternoon, President Young, board members, and General Manager Chan. My name is Eric Larson. I'm President of AFSCME Local 444. As we objected during consideration of the staffing plan and had objected repeatedly during our contracting out committee meetings, AFSCME Local 444 is again lodging a formal objection to contracting out our core bargaining unit work. That's specifically under consideration of concrete services. We appreciate that the district is adding a limited term 2-year paving crew foreman and a limited term concrete finisher. But as we noted when the staffing plan was considered for approval, we object to that limited term nature of these positions. The work is not going away. Pipeline rebuild goals are increasing as necessary and responsible maintenance of our infrastructure to assure system reliability for the next 100 years. And as we dig up streets and replace pipes, we break curbs and sidewalks, and that need to be repaired. Similarly, meters are being replaced for system water loss goals. And while the meters are being replaced, the boxes are being broken and the sidewalks around them are being broken, which also need to be repaired by concrete finishers. The work is not going away and the backlog is not going down because the work is increasing. We've been at $2 million a year of contracting out concrete services since 2020. We request that the next budget cycle, you take some of that money to fund regular, permanent, full-time concrete finishers and foreman positions. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
So let me just provide a little background, and I know there was a board member that asked for some examples because maybe not all the board members understand the type of work that District Forces performs versus what a contractor performs. So maybe as you cue that up, just by way of background, as Eric noted, we did add 2 limited term positions to the staffing plan to address the backlog issues, to bring down the backlog. And what we had discussed with the unions at the time was that we weren't sure that these are positions we would need for the long term if we were able to bring down the backlog. And so we want to be cautious before we add new positions that are permanent positions. The other thing I just want to share with the board and maybe remind Eric, the discussions on FM&O contracts have been going on for many, many, many years. And in the prior budget cycle, we had met with the unions and we converted 4 limited term positions to regular positions. And there was many discussions and a summary that was sent by Human Resources to Local 444 with the agreement on all the contracts, but where it said we would convert 4 LT positions, concrete finisher positions, to regular positions, and we would hold our spending flat, which we have done. And Local 444 acknowledged that the staff, the 4 positions we converted, would address the contracting out for concrete work until at least 25 miles for pipeline rebuild. We're at 25 miles for pipeline rebuild, and we're at 25 miles for another year for pipeline rebuild. So as part of these ongoing discussions with the union, we had reached an agreement saying, if we do this, if we hold our spending flat, they acknowledge that up until 25 miles of pipe, if we go over 25 miles of pipe, then we can re-engage this discussion. That said, even in this budget cycle, we added 2 more positions, even though we still held positions flat. So what I would share with you is we kept up what we agreed to with the unions as far as what we would do, and went above by adding 2 positions that are limited term to address backlog issues that were partly contributed by the fact that we had some long-term absences that amounted to almost 2 FTEs. So we want to catch up with that particular work. But I would also add that we want to be cautious about adding full-time positions when we don't think that there would be potentially long-term work. As we share with the unions, if we do realize that that's needed, then in the next budget cycle, we can revisit whether we make these permanent positions. So I'll just add that, but I also want to have Crystal share with you the type of work, because contractors work on larger type of jobs, and we do, as Eric noted, the meter boxes, that type of issues. And this might also help you understand the type of work that district forces do versus what a contractor does.
Okay. Sure. Good afternoon, directors. Crystal Yesman, Manager of Maintenance Construction. So yeah, we had a request to show the board some examples of the concrete work that we do. And first we'll start with the great work done by our staff here in-house. So we'll go to the next slide. This is a recent job where we're repairing a sidewalk. The leak that was in the street lifted the sidewalk panels. And so this is a rather smaller sidewalk repair job. And this is, we have 2-man concrete crews. So there's 2 people that go out and form up the work and do it. So that's an example of work done and performed by district forces. Next slide. And as Eric pointed out, a lot of the work that's given to district staff is to repair sidewalks around meter boxes. So meter boxes tend to get broken and fail, or we have to replace them with a new meter when the meters at end of life. So that's a lot of the work that's done by our in-house staff. So next slide. Another example of meter box work done by district staff. Next slide. And again, meter box repair done by district staff, district forces, and next slide. So here we have an example of work performed by contractors. Generally, we do not do ADA handicap ramps and disability ramps with district forces. It's a specialty to install those pads in the sloped sidewalk. And this is a larger sidewalk job. This is something that probably requires traffic control. And we subject to that staff up with their own traffic control staff on staff. So this is really the contract out to contractors. Next slide. Oh, back up one. This is actually a roadway that requires concrete. It's a concrete base on the roadway itself. So as you can imagine, it's going to impact traffic. It takes quite a number of folks to do traffic control, to set it up, to install the concrete. So this is a larger job that is being performed by contractors. Next slide. And in general, the orders that we give to contractors are double in the cubic feet of the job than what we give to district staff. In general, the average, if you look at the average over time. This is another job that's contracted out to contractors. You notice there's this really wide apron and curb for the concrete on this street, and it's quite long. It's over a block long, so this is something that's done by contractors. And that's what I have for examples of work performed by district staff versus contract services.
Can I ask if Eric, if you have anything to add either to General Manager Chan's description of the agreement or of the, I don't know if you were where you are or if you were able to see what Crystal shared in terms of the work. Thank you for that. It was helpful.
Eric is online. You should be able to unmute your mic. Eric, did you hear President Young?
Yeah, I did. Thank you, President Young. And in fact, I had raised my hand prior to you calling on me, so we're on the same page because I did want to acknowledge what the General Manager Chan statement, and I forgot about the 25-mile goal part of the agreement. That had not been brought back up in our contracting out committee meetings. We hadn't been reminded of that kind of nuance of the agreement. We did make clear during all of those contracting out committee meetings that our concern was the staffing levels and the LT nature of the recent 2 additional positions. Nonetheless, we maintain our request that at the next budget cycle, you take some of the money allotted to contracting for concrete services to fund additional regular, permanent, full-time concrete finishers and foreman positions. Also, thanks, Crystal, for your presentation. Yeah, that shows very precisely the type of work that we do and versus the type of work that goes to contracting out that would consist of the large-scale projects that are outside of the scope of our concrete crews. So thank you for that.
Okay.
Did I also just to say that we withdraw the objection based on Clever's recounting of our agreement? That's true and correct. But we do request that during the next budget cycle, you take some of the money allotted to contracts to fund additional regular, permanent, and full-time concrete finishers.
Thank you, Eric. Question I have is, of the amount that's been contracted out, how much of that work falls into the category of work that you described as contractor work versus how much of it falls into the category of work that would ordinarily be performed by district forces? In other words, did we contract out any meter or other, the type of work that you showed?
Good question. So our backlog currently stands at about 1,150 orders, which is quite a bit. It's gone up over the last 4 or 5 years, and as General Manager Chan pointed out, we had some staff that were out from injuries amounting to about 3,000 work hours over the last fiscal year. So we're trying to get that backlog to come down, and when we do have staff vacancies, we will give some of the smaller jobs to contractors. So it's about at this point getting the backlog down and under control, and then we'll take a look at what the rate of new orders, given how much our staff can do, and whether or not those LT positions should be converted to regular. So yeah, we'll be taking a close look at that.
And I mean, if you don't have the numbers right now, we can get back to the board on what the breakdown between at least this period of time, how much of the contract work is being done that would be the larger jobs versus work that we would typically have district forces do. So I don't know, unless you have the number right now.
The percentage, it's about 50-50, so it depends on the year, so in
Once the
terms of number of
backlog's
orders.
cleared, though, it would be some smaller amount.
Yeah, I mean, prior to the increase, I think the backlog was probably around a little over 200 work orders, and it's grown recently, so.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Sorry. I hate to be a broken record on this, but I do think it's reasonable to have a more in-depth discussion on, the whole issue of contracting coincident with the next budget, whether it's in the finance committee or in a budget workshop, because I do share the concern that these temporary contracts, just roll over and become evergreen contracts, and then we end up with 5 or 6 or 8 years of quote-unquote temporary work. So I am not willing to commit on, whether we change classifications of employees, but I do think we should have a more in-depth discussion on it, rather than, here on this consent calendar.
Yeah, and we can do it, and we have in the past come to the Finance Administration Committee to talk about FM and O contracts, and we can do that again. So thank you for the
So
suggestion.
I'm going to keep being a squeaky wheel on it, I'm sorry.
No, we always need a squeaky wheel on this topic. Somebody always takes that role.
Well, cool.
You get it. And I would only add that, same thing I said last time, which is that, the more positions we add and the more tight our budget is, the more the risk looms that we have to leave positions vacant or, lay people off, which, again, we've never done. So I don't want to be in office when we do it for the first time.
Which is why we have it as part of the budget discussion.
Which is
so
why we have
can
to have it as part of the
consider
budget.
trade-off.
Absolutely. Okay. Do I have a motion for item 5?
So moved?
Moved by Director Katz. Second? Somebody?
I'll second it.
And just
Seconded
if
by
I may
Director Smith.
briefly speak to the motion, part of my consideration on this contract is the history of our collective bargaining agreement and the way we did specifically address this, the applicable positions here. I do think that this is, when it's not overflow and we're able to maintain the positions on a sustainable basis, this work would be core work. And we need to get up to our next budget cycle to determine if we can create permanent positions in this field. I'm very interested in that, but like President Young said, I don't want to, unless we can anticipate retirements or vacancies or foresee enough utilization of the work, I don't want to cause layoffs, but I do have deep concerns about long-term, limited-term positions and would like to make sure that we have more board discussion before the next budget.
Okay.
And I call the
Any further
question.
discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? None? Okay. Motion passes. We're pulling item 10. I'm not sure why. Director
I
Odie.
did that because I received an email this morning from a concerned district ratepayer and employee, and I just wanted to bring forward that ratepayer's question. The ratepayer said, "My concern is that this work is not temporary and could potentially be handled in-house by East Bay MUD's Information Services Department rather than outsourcing to a third-party vendor." So I just wondered if our staff could kind of comment on that, that remark that I received.
Sure, and again, thank you for sharing that. And we have, is it Andy, are you going to address this? Okay. Andy from our IT department will address that.
So I'm the supervisor for the team that manages the OT systems, the ICS control systems.
Andy, can you give us your full name and title, just because you haven't spoken to us before and we'd like to know who people are?
Sure, my name is Andy Cito. I'm a information services section supervisor in the ISD department. I've been working in the district for 18 years. So I supervise the team of 8 IT engineers that take care of operations as well as ICS systems. We have 2 full-time senior engineers dedicated to OT support. They've been supporting OT for 10 and 15 years, respectively. At this time, during this year, we have certain work that is coming up that we need to take care of to ensure that the OT system stays secure and stay updated. We have a couple of upgrades coming up for both the SCADA system and the DCS system this year that my senior IT engineers will be handling. And so a lot of the work that they currently do will need to be handled by a contractor or someone that we can manage to make sure that the operating systems stay up to date. We push out security updates. We push out laptops, things like that. So that's the reason why we are looking for a contractor for this year, a temporary contractor, to cover some of that work while my senior IT engineers, who are district staff, take care of the upgrades.
Thank you. I wanted to be respectful to the person that sent me an email and asked the question, so I appreciate the answer.
Yep.
Any other
Okay, I'll-
questions?
I'll move the item if,
Actually, I wanted to pull number 10 as well.
oh, okay.
Yeah, it's okay, because I also, it doesn't involve the contracts, so you don't need to stay up front. Yeah, thank you. It's the other item, thank you. Yeah, I also received an email from a ratepayer and an employee about the whistleblower policy.
That's number 12.
Is that number 12?
Yes.
Oh, I thought we were, okay, sorry.
Do you have any objection to number 10?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I'll
Sorry
move the
about that.
item. I'll move item
Moved.
10.
Should I have somebody second the item, number 10?
Second.
Who?
Valerie?
Director Lewis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? The motion, item passes. We are pulling number 12 at the request of the Chair of the Finance Committee for further consideration of policy 616, which, I don't know, Director Lewis, if you wanted to add anything, but we're basically pulling it for future consideration and would still go forward with policy 7.11 and policy 9.03 as part of, and 907 as part of consent.
Yeah, I also wanted to comment on 6.16.
We're not considering it.
Just for clarification, and I think you've correctly identified that my request is related to policy 6.16. I also, in full transparency, want to note that the Finance Administration Committee approved or accepted the report by 2 votes, and I did abstain. If you need me to comment, that's fine, but I'm comfortable waiting till we get more information.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Clifford,
I'll
did you want to
be able
add
to just
something?
add to it.
And
So,
then Director Chan, you can add in your points.
during the committee meeting, Director Lewis had some questions about the whistleblower policy, policy 6.16. Based on this discussion, we will incorporate her comments and bring it back to the committee with some updates, and then bring it back to the board at a future date.
Director Chan.
Okay, well, I think that was perfect, actually. But I still do want to read the email that I got from a ratepayer, and evidently this person says they're one of my constituents.
Would you please forward that email to
Yes, I will.
staff so that the committee
Yes, I
can
will.
consider it?
Yes, I
Thank
will.
you.
Okay, so, I'll just skip a paragraph, but this person says, I would like to respectfully request that the new whistleblower policy include a way for employees to report issues anonymously. All reports of unethical acts, policy and legal violations, discrimination, management, and waste of district resources should be shared with the board of directors. This would help the board understand the full extent of the problem within district management. Additionally, strong protections against retaliation are essential. As it is a common issue in the district, we need to see senior management held accountable for poor performance, and their removal should be a real possibility when necessary. I'm confident that the current management will do things to protect themselves. Thank you again for your commitment in transparency and accountability. Signed, concerned employee and ratepayer. It will be forwarded. So I think I was basically going to ask the same thing that Director Young asked, which was to have further discussion and go back and revisit 6.16 before it's passed. And I will add my own comment that since I started with the district, retaliation really has been a problem, according to employees that have come to me. And so I would really like to see that addressed and a serious discussion about it, and maybe fold that into 6.16. That's the end of my comments. Thank you.
Okay, so do I have a motion to adopt policy 7.11, 9.03, and 9.07?
So moved.
Any discussion? Any other public comment? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Okay, all right. Okay. 45-minute consent calendar.
All right.
Okay, on to determination and discussion. And item 13, which is to adopt a resolution to declare October 1st, 2025, California Clean Air Day at the district and encourage all employees to participate in California Clean Air Day by doing things like what I do, ride my bike. Do we have any, there's no staff presentation associated with this.
We do have Dave Briggs here just to go into a little more details about
You
California
could
Clean
share
Air Day.
what employees are being encouraged to do?
Absolutely.
Et cetera?
Thank you, Clifford. Thank you, President Young. Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, just to give you a little more context, this is the 5th year in a row that we've brought the resolution for the board's consideration to support California Clean Air Day. The resolution would declare October 1st, 2025 to be Clean Air Day at the district, coincident with the statewide California Clean Air Day, which is promoted by the Coalition for Clean Air. Our commitment here contributes to the broader shared experience that unites people to take individual actions to improve community health and the environment. Individuals are encouraged to commit to specific actions to reduce air pollution, things like biking to work or running errands or finding another way of getting to work without creating pollution, mass transit, cleaning your air filters at home, promoting clean air around the house, or planting a tree. The employee-led, and I would say enthusiastically led, Sustainability Committee is promoting the event within the district, and so far dozens of employees have made the pledge. We'll keep it open for another week or so ahead of the big day. Other events planned by the Sustainability Committee include a planting tree event at the district's main wastewater treatment plant on October 1st. There's plenty of room there to do this. And a social bike ride after work on October 2nd, which coincidentally ends at a nice restaurant.
What restaurant?
Is Alice here? Alice?
It's a restaurant that serves beverages.
I think it's
I
somewhere in
need a bar?
Emeryville. Yeah, we will get that location to you.
Okay.
So just an opportunity for us as an organization to reflect on our commitment to reducing air pollution and carbon emissions. The district has adopted, as you know, an aggressive greenhouse gas reduction goal. We have purchased energy efficient and clean vehicles. We're continuing to be very aggressive with that to convert the fleet. And we've greatly expanded our renewable energy production this year once we got the Duffel project online out in Orinda. The district is also supporting clean air by reducing the risk of catastrophic wildfire by all of our great work and careful stewardship upcountry through UMRA with forest restoration projects. So by working collectively, we can make a difference in air quality to benefit everyone and everything, and I leave it at that for your consideration. Thank you.
Okay, any questions or comments from board members?
I just want to thank you for bringing this forward. I think it's wonderful that the district does this. Much appreciated.
Anybody else?
Move approval?
Are there any public comment? Okay, moved by Director Katz,
I second it.
seconded by Director Gomez. I hope all of you will consider either not driving or riding your bike or walking on that day. And with that, we will have a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained?
That wasn't a,
That was not,
That was an approval.
that was a yes. Okay, that is unanimously adopted. We're now on item 14, General Manager's Report.
Thank you, President Young. Just one note, many of you probably felt the magnitude 4.3 earthquake early yesterday morning. Since then, there have been at least 7 smaller aftershocks. The earthquakes were all on the Hayward Fault. The epicenter of these earthquakes were in the Berkeley area. And just for the board's understanding, when there is an earthquake with magnitude 4.0 or larger in the region, staff do conduct inspections of the water treatment plants, and depending on the distance from the epicenter, inspection of our dams. Larger earthquakes would certainly trigger inspections of our other facilities. Yesterday's earthquake did not cause any damage to any of our facilities or our pipelines. We do live in earthquake country, as we all know, and a major earthquake is one of the hazards that we do prepare for. This includes upgrading our facilities and pipes, maintaining and exercising our emergency operations plan and our business continuity plans, coordinating with cities and counties that we serve, developing partnerships with other utilities, and educating our customers to be prepared. The last area on the customer preparedness you heard when we talked about the customer opinion survey is an area that we're going to work on next year because we found that 61% of the customers that we surveyed are not prepared for a major earthquake. Each year, we do provide the board an update on our preparedness, and this year's update will be shared with the board on October 14th. And also with that, if there are any questions about that, at your places is a speaker's bureau, and that will be the end of my reports.
Thank you, Clifford. Anything from anybody? From Clifford's report? No, okay. It was a loud one. Yeah. At least where I was, it was loud. The earthquake was loud. It was loud, boom. Okay, item 14, item 15, items for future consideration. If you have any items, looks like we're considering, future consideration will be the whistleblower policy coming up. Now on to, if you have other items, please submit them to myself and the general manager. Director comments? I think we started with Andy last time, so we'll start with Joey this time.
Oh, okay.
If you have any.
It's been a little bit busy for me, so I'll truncate it, I guess. West County Forum was very well attended with the new superintendent for West County Unified School District as the speaker. She wants to be in communication with us about programs for students and the like, so the plan is to connect her with our PIO. Also, where we go? Oh, sustainability awards. That was a good time. That was a good time, as well as acknowledging the green businesses, which we got 2 awards. So that was fun. And the Richmond Main Street did I believe it's not a stroll, but it really brings the community together. And every time I go to these events and I see our logo on their signs of sponsors, it feels really, really great. So everybody who's out there doing that good work, Joe was out there with us for the Sustainable Contra Costa, and I like the fact that so many different folk throughout our district generally speaking, have a great appreciation for what we do and the fact that we actually go out and participate in the community. Thank you for the floor.
Jim?
Okay, real quick. Had the opportunity to attend on the 13th, the Oakland Chinatown Night Market. They're reviving that. It was quite a nice turnout. Our congresswoman was there, the mayor, and a bunch of others. So it was really nice event. And then also just last Saturday, the Asian Health Services Gala down here at the Marriott, also a really nice event. So appreciate the opportunity to attend.
Thank you. Since we last met a couple of weeks ago, I've had the privilege of participating in a new leadership training. It's the San Ramon Valley Leadership Academy, and I am happy to be a member of that. I also went to the Oakland Zoo annual donor reception. That was my first time attending such a thing, and it was wonderful to see both the animals and all the supporters of the zoo out there, and happy that that EBMUD has sponsored this event for a while now. I also attended the Water, Energy, and Environment Task Force of the East Bay Leadership Council, where they talked about the new CEQA laws and how that impacts our region. I saw Director Smith at the Sustainable Contra Costa event, where EBMUD was awarded by the Green Business Program for one of our facilities that became a Green Business facility, so that's fantastic. And lastly, I went to the Lafayette Art, Wine, and Music Festival this weekend. That is a packed and wonderful event. In case you haven't been, I highly recommend. And thanks for being there, you guys. Our team was there in force, so thank you.
Okay, well, I had the honor of speaking on EBMUD's behalf at the memorial of David, quote-unquote, Chicken Nesmith, who is the activist who's dedicated quite a lot of his career to keeping us on the up and up and helping to get the Wild and Scenic designation and the Water Forum Agreement and a bunch of other things that have been important to the district. It was incredibly well attended, maybe 350 people at Bishop O'Dowd, showcasing the environmental living lab that he and his widow created from a barren quarry hillside into an amazing ecosystem. So that was great. And then this past Friday, I, with a number of folks in this room, Kelly, Catherine, and Clifford, and Serge, and who else was Briggs there? Joe helped organize it. We did a tour of the Orinda treatment plant with a number of elected officials, including a BART board member, some folks from Moraga Orinda Fire District, as well as Orinda, Moraga, and there's another. Central Sand. We're all there, about 15 folks, to see the progress that we're making on the Orinda treatment plant, and it was well received. And I think all of you, when we do our October infrastructure field trip, will enjoy as well. There's some. I'm not going to spoil the fun. So just leave it at that. I think that's. Yeah, I think that's all I have. Director Chan?
Can you come back to me at the end, please? If you don't mind.
Sure.
Thank you.
Director Lewis?
Hi. On September 10, I had the opportunity to attend the Alameda County Mayor's Conference, which was hosted by Oakland and Mayor Barbara Lee. We had just gotten our water quality report the day before, so I made a point of sharing with everybody present that if they were in Alameda County District, they were drinking great water. They should throw away that bottle or recycle it. They didn't need the bottled water, so. There was a presentation by Councilwoman, come on, Rashomande. Ramachandra, thank you. And I just wanted to share with the audience what was really neat. They talked about prevention of wildfires and catastrophic fires. And the big push right now, if you have the opportunity at home, is to move your landscaping or flammable things 5 feet back from the structure. And there are a lot of studies that show from these flames or what have you, when they start, they'll burn out, but if they're close to a structure, they generate. So it was unique, it was fascinating to watch the videos, and I passed that information on. I also wanted to take an opportunity to congratulate both the Oakland Bay Area chapter and the San Francisco chapter of the Lynx on their 75th anniversary. They celebrated together. I think it noteworthy to note it was a luncheon at the Mark Hopkins. It was held at the Mark Hopkins in San Francisco because 75 years ago, that was the only hotel that allowed African Americans to hold an event there. And then I also want to note a loss in the Oakland community of Pastor J. Alfred Smith Sr. of the Allen Temple Baptist Church last Friday. Thank you.
I had the pleasure of attending and participating in the Solano Stroll, including the parade that they do, and was glad to see East Bay Mud there. It's a very large event that draws from not just Berkeley, but cities north and south. And we did have representation from our water conservation and wastewater teams there in the booths portion of the event. And the Water on Wheels was a hit as always. So I'm glad to see so many people getting to know more about community services in the East Bay, and that we were part of it. And that's all.
Director Chan.
All right, thank you so much for your patience. All right, so I attended the Castro Valley Sanitary District red ribbon cutting, and Rolando Gonzalez was there as well. It was a very short event. I don't think I've ever been to such a short event. I mean, it was like a half an hour. And, but it was extremely well attended, and you know, it was very impressive, actually, the amount of people that were there for a very short event. I was also at the Oakland Zoo event for the Donor Appreciation Evening, so that was, as Director Gomez said, a very nice event.
Okay, I think that does it for director comments. Oh, I'm sorry, I knew, it's like, wait a minute, there's something else. Jim has something to add.
I'm sorry, I thought we had an extra meeting before this happened, but we only have one. And in light of the GM's comments about the earthquake, we are sponsoring an event with our supervisor, Lena Tam, in San Leandro, Alameda County District 3 Emergency Preparedness Day. So it's Saturday, October 18th, from 10 to 2:30 at the San Leandro Main Public Library. So free admission, free lunch, first come, first serve, free emergency kits to the first 300 households, and I believe there's something from East Bay Mud in that emergency kit. So if you live in San Leandro or San Lorenzo, or even up here in this part of the district, I hope we can make it out to that. Thank you.
You're welcome. All righty. Yeah, hopefully the earthquake is a reminder that if you, like me, don't have your emergency preparedness things together, good reminder to do it. It's just a Bay Area native thing. Okay, our next meeting is Tuesday, October 14th at 1:15. The meeting is now adjourned.